What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to a brand new video. Today you join me for another car review. As you can see behind me, I have the Polo 6C GTI, and yeah, we'll be doing a review once again on this car. I've done one previously, but that was about 2 to 3 years ago. I just thought I should revisit it to see if it's still good enough. But yeah, I really do hope you guys enjoy this video, and let's jump right into it.
As I woke up one morning, as I woke up one morning, as I woke up one morning, just thinking about this night.
So, Polo 6C GTI. Now, I remember when this was first introduced back in around 2015, it looked so cool to me because at the time I felt like it looked so much like the Golf 7 GTI, and it was just, they had nailed it, really. Now, the design is quite simplistic, but it's very recognizable as a GTI because of all the red flashes and the sporty looking rims, the sporty bumper, and so on. So up front, you got LED headlights which look quite nice when they are lit up, especially in dark conditions. You get the traditional red GTI bar that runs across the entire grille of the car and into the headlights. You get the older style GTI badge, which is in chrome. Nowadays they do it in red. You have a deeper front bumper that houses some fog lights. This design piece right here is unique to the GTI. Honeycomb grille at the lower bottom and also the top part grille. Coming around to the side, you have these very cool 17-inch rims which are two-tone in silver and gloss black. Red brake caliper, which is so cool. 205 6mm tires all round, if you should know. GTI badge right here on the piece. This is an iconic part of the GTI design. You have more aggressive side skirts with this black part that pops out of the car. I do like the contrast of the pan roof and black. You also have a touch of black back here with the roof spoiler, which does tie in nicely, especially on this white car. You get like a black and white vibe. So LED tail lights, you have deeper rear bumpers which look absolutely cool, more aggressive. Twin GTI tail exhausts, iconic right now with Polo GTIs because they're still doing it like this on Polo GTIs. GTI badge right there, no Polo whatsoever. This is a GTI, so you should know. So let's actually check out the interior. So Polo GTI interior. Now this is a 2015 car, and for one, the interior is dated to some degree because now VW is doing digital screens, they're doing all sorts of modern tech features and so forth, but it's still doable. For one, you have a GTI badge down here on the door sills. You get much more sportier seats with some Alcantara inserts in the middle, and they do help lift up this interior. I just hope, or I just wish they did like some red stitching on the seats because red is a very GTI-ish color. There's no colored stitching in here. I think they do that in the Golf GTI, but I guess this is the lesser Polo and you don't get that, but that would have been cool. You get a sportier GTI steering wheel with some bigger shift pedals, and it has a GTI badge down at the bottom, and it is flat bottom. It does look really cool. Now this one is DSG, and I believe on these you could also get it in manual, but manuals are not popular in SA, so most of them that you'll find out here are DSG, and it is a very nice shifting box, of which we'll get into all those things during the driving part. So you have more traditional climate controls with these knobs for fan speed, for your temperature, and for your airflow, vent direction, and so forth. Infotainment screen, once again, pretty small, but like I said, 2015, and yeah, I'm not gonna fault the car in any way. But what I will applaud is that it actually comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, although it's you have to plug in a cable, which is fine. A lot of cars today you still have to plug in, but there are a lot of cars that come out today where you still won't find Apple CarPlay, and this, a car from 2015, has Apple CarPlay, which is, yeah, really insane. You also have Sporty pedals down there, which are aluminium. They look absolutely nice. Another insane thing about this car is you actually get heated seats. There are two buttons right here. On the left side is for the passenger seat, and on the right is for the driver's seat, which is insane. Heated seats in this car. There's also a sport button up here, the old way of engaging sport mode. Most cars did have a button somewhere here. Even Mercedes, they had a button, it says sport, and you just press it there and you'll have your sport mode. Build quality is actually exceptional. It's really good. Like, everywhere that you touch is very solid. It feels very well put together. Even like the dashboard, it has a very nice, well dampened material, and yeah, I do quite like the interior. It's also heavily lifted by the panoramic sunroof. So let's actually check out the back seat. So the back seat. Now this seat is currently in my driving position, and as you can see, leg room is quite tight. Headroom is actually plentiful, which is really good, but these seats actually curve in a bit, which does help. There is some decent room on the footwells. You can really get comfortable and move your legs around, and the seats are also sporty. Like in the front, you get the two-tone leather and Alcantara, which is quite nice. Other than that, there's nothing interesting back here, like charging ports or whatever, but yeah, it's just a nice place to be in. Let's actually check out the boot space. Now the boot, nothing particularly interesting. This boot is about 305 liters in size, which is quite decent. The opening is quite nice and boxy, so it makes it easy to load stuff in and out. There is, yeah, close to none or no boot leap. There's also this underfloor storage where you get a spare wheel, and as you can see, the owner keeps his cleaning products, which is quite cool. Now, very spacious boot indeed. Let's actually chat about the engine and pricing on this car. So the engine, now underneath the hood, you're looking at a 1.8 liter turbo 4-cylinder motor, which is actually quite cool and very punchy. Now it pushes about 141 kilowatts, which is around 190 horsepower and 250 newton meters of torque. Now this is the older DQ200, so it has the 7-speed dual clutch transmission, which is quite cool, and it shifts pretty quickly. Now acceleration times, you're looking at about late about 6.7 seconds, thereabout, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, that is. Now also chat to you guys through the pricing. Now the price range on these currently is about 250 to 330,000 rands, depending on the mileage and the condition of the vehicle. Now I would say they're pretty much a bargain, although they may be prone to some common faults, which aren't necessarily a big deal. Now let's jump into the driver's seat and experience the GTI experience. Let's jump into it. So guys, you join me inside the Polo 6C GTI. Now I currently have it in sport, and let's experience some accelerations. Now, out of all the modern Polo GTIs, I think this is my favorite sounding because it just sounds so cool. It has this very deep tone to it, which is, yeah, it's just so nice. I'll put it in manual. Listen to this. It's just, yeah, it's really nice. Now, I first want to talk about the common issues on this platform. Now, this being the DQ200 platform, it has the older dry sump gearbox, which can be prone to some mechatronic failures. Sometimes it might pop up some warning lights about the gearbox, well, a gearbox fault, and it tells you to leave the car in the park position. So usually that's nothing to be worried about. It normally, yeah, it's just a fault that cannot really be cleared, because every time I check, especially with like VW dealerships, they don't necessarily know how to clear it. I don't know if they don't know or they just decide to leave it, but yeah, the car can run fine and there's no problem whatsoever. A second common issue on these is that often the water pump can fail, and replacing it can cost anywhere from like 9,000 to about 12,000 rands. Yeah, that's another common failure on these cars. Other than that, yeah, if you're unlucky, your mechatronic will actually fail and you'll have to replace it, and it costs about around 40 grand to replace the mechatronic. I'm just gonna put the air conditioner on, yeah, which would be unfortunate, but yeah, that's just something to look out for. But yeah, actually to drive, it's a very nice car to drive. Having it in sport, it does stiffen the steering wheel a bit and also sharpen the throttle response, which yeah, does make for a more engaging drive. So I'm just gonna pull out into this main road, and if I accelerate now, it's very man, let me tell you, it is certainly very quick. And for me personally, to a certain degree, it also sounds better than the newer cars like the latest generation Polo GTI and the pre-facelift. Obviously, because those cars have the OPF filter, which does restrict the noise of a car. So I mean, and it is certainly fun to drive. It skips and hops over bumps. It feels really tight around curves. You can just chuck it around, and yeah, confident, inspiring as well. The brakes feel very solid and progressive. I don't think so far I've ever been in any VW car and felt like the brakes were weird or weren't strong enough. All of them pretty much have like strong brakes. Even taking on a curve, it's just, you can just chuck it into a curve and off you go. It's really confidence inspiring for sure. Man, this car is really fun to drive. So the way it drives, the way it feels is the actual reason why I feel like this car is a bargain for the price that you can get it for nowadays. I mean, it's no brainer. The only thing that you'd have to settle for is obviously the older tech. I mean, it doesn't have the newer digital screens and whatsoever, but I don't know, does it really matter? Maybe to a certain degree, but for me personally, as long as I can connect my mobile phone and listen to some music, I'm pretty much fine. Hey, these roads are a bit terrible. I think I'm gonna go back where we were shooting. Just a short drive around the area. So yeah, for me personally, as long as I can connect my phone, listen to my jams, I'm really cool. So yeah, I think if your budget was really tight and you could only afford this one, I mean, it's really worth it. It's really great. They're actually, being a VW product, they're also very tunable. You can do an easy intake, downpipe, software tune, and I'm pretty sure you'll be able to get about 30 kilowatts or so, which is, I mean, it would be a lot of power. You'll be up there with like the latest generation Golf GTI in terms of performance, maybe even faster, because this is a much lighter car. So yeah, the gearbox is very engaging actually. Like, the shifts are very precise, the pedal shifts are very responsive. Like, you just touch and you get a gear immediately, you get the next gear immediately, which is quite cool, I guess. I mean, this DSG thing is just, yeah, it's really insane. I mean, it's very responsive. It's really insane how responsive this gearbox actually is. The pedals might be plastic, but for me it's not really a big deal because they feel very solid. They're not like flimsy or whatsoever, and they are textured, so you can really feel them properly with your fingers and engage with them. But that's pretty much all from me, guys, today with the Polo 6C GTI. I really do hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until next time, that's cheers from me.